It's the same thing with production. Like it's like to some degree, like where is that line? You have to find the fine line between science and art. You know what I mean? Because I think that
Totally.
you can get so caught up in the trying to like, oh, I got to EQ this perfectly, and like to some degree, it doesn't matter when people feel it. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I gotta hit this at the right, for you, the right vowel, and it's like, well, if people aren't feeling it, like it doesn't even matter. It could be
Yeah.
technically right, but it doesn't. Obviously, you don't want to damage your voice. That's a completely
No.
different story. But you
And
know,
if that kind of runs into like a deeper discussion about what makes a singer. For some, it's if you can't do a 32 note riff in 8 seconds, you're nothing. For others, it's like all of that stuff is just noise. You're overcooking the cake. Um,
mm.
Somebody once said to me, I'm not looking for you to impress me. I'm looking for you to move me. So, however
Sure.
that's
Who said
done,
that?
a friend called Greg,
One of your friends.
one of my friends, yeah.
Uh huh.
And he said that to me, and I was like,
Yeah,
yeah, damn right.
that's
That's
so
like
true.
bang on.
That's
Um,
so true.
and I always use, and I feel like I'm gonna have a complex that people think I'm hate Jessie J, and I don't, because she is easily one of the best singers on the planet.
Sure.
Proficiency almost unmatched. She could go on toe to toe with anybody and hold her own. But sometimes she gets caught up in like over riffing and kind of
Mm.
impressing people. Whereas you get somebody that like Willie Nelson or Bob Dylan,
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking about.
yeah, who like would walk onto stage and couldn't sing half the stuff she does,
Yeah,
but can move
yeah,
an audience and
yeah.
have them in the palm of their hand. They're both valid. They're both at the top of their game, and they're both singers, but for different reasons.
And that's where comparison comes in and can steal your joy, because like if Willie Nelson comes in, and compares to Jessie J, like he's gonna be like, oh, I'm a terrible singer, and like, but then Jessie J could be like, well, why is he moving the crowds? Or like, I'd be
Mm-hmm.
frustrated. Like I spent years and years practicing, and he literally just goes up and like does whatever he wants. It's like you just gotta stay in your lane, and hopefully you get appreciated for what you
Yeah,
end up being. Because John Mayer's a very interesting,
I love
obviously
John Mayer.
yeah, I'm
Sorry.
same man. But he was singing improperly, either overworked his voice or singing improperly for so long because he developed those nodes and had to get the surgery, the classic pop singer surgery like
Yeah,
Sam Smith and I think
Adele.
Miley Cyrus and Adele,
Yeah.
exactly. So many. It's sad actually, and I'd be curious actually. Follow up question after this is I'd be curious about to know your opinion on whether it's overworking them or if it's like improper singing. But with John Mayer, it's like he's got such a unique voice and he has such a mellow voice, but like he makes it into his own. You know what I mean? Like it's like
Yeah.
that's John Mayer. He doesn't have to be this. Like he's like you don't hear him doing these crazy riffs like Jessie J. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think people forget that if you have something that is unique to you, then don't try and iron it out to sound like somebody else.
Mm.
Enhance it. So when I'm coaching people and they I want to sound like someone. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
don't sound like that person because you sound like you. So let's get the best version
Yeah.
of you out there. And I don't know of people that have become super famous in their own right because they sound exactly like somebody else.
Exactly. I think there's always a cap when you try to be when you like because then you just go into the cover band kind of space
Yeah.
and
Or somebody
yeah,
goes, "Oh, that's a poor man's that person," and you're like, "You're not a
yeah.
poor man's anything. You're like fantastic."
A poor,
But
yeah, a
yeah,
perman, a
yeah,
per. That's funny. The
yeah,
accent's coming through heavy there. I was like, "What's a perman?" That's funny.
yeah.
That's
The
really funny.
accent
Yes.
started.
There we go.
But yeah,
But
the
oh,
vocal,
sorry.
your vocal fingerprint is so important, and I don't think that people should
Is
get
that
rid
your
of that for any reason.
uniqueness? You mean by the fingerprint?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's
How
an
you're
interesting way to describe it.
identifiable.
That's interesting.